If you are a gamer, you want to listen to what the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, said today.
We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset a ton of people, but we are not in a position, and I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. There is no world where Starfield's an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's not going to happen.
Most likely, Phil does have some strong statistical evidence to back up his point, and I hate to say this, he's right. It's not going to take an 11 out of 10 Starfield to convert PlayStation 5 users to Xbox. But here's the thing, it's not about one game. It's about multiple amazing and stable games to change the culture of today's Xbox. In the interview, Phil admitted that he is in third place in the console wars between PlayStation and Nintendo, and that there's no way for them to make a comeback just relying on great games. But let's take a look at it from a sports perspective. It reminds me of an unassuming staff hire or a third or fourth late round draft pick. All that could lead up to the change in the franchise, and great games can transform the console wars. Let's take a look at the past. Halo was created by Microsoft, and that changed the console wars at that time and made so many people invest into Xbox because of that great franchise. On the flip side of that coin, PlayStation 3, you remember that era for PlayStation fans? Totally struggled with numerous setbacks, but they never gave up on their games. They kept pushing for great games and kept pushing for iconic characters, and eventually they hit their stride in the PlayStation 4 era with Uncharted, God of War, and The Last of Us. Now let's talk about today's disappointment of Redfall. It was supposed to be a flagship for the Game Pass and Xbox, and yes, Xbox is now totally focusing on Game Pass subscriptions. But for us gamers to invest into that ecosystem, we are going to need strong flagship games, and it's going to be challenging for us to do so when those games fail. Halo Infinite fizzled out, and now there is a looming immense pressure for Starfield to deliver, a game that has already faced multiple delays. Now you may be wondering, what other kind of company has able to do this before by leaning on their great games? Well, that, my friends, is Nintendo. Remember back in the day, Nintendo constantly facing the pressure of using 1080p graphics and making sure to have everything HD, but Nintendo leaned on their games and they were able to weather numerous onslaught from all sides of both PlayStation and Xbox. Even people who never played a Wii or a GameCube, who never ever played Nintendo in their life, will buy a Nintendo Switch for one game. Animal Crossing is an example, and of course the upcoming Tears of the Kingdom from the Legend of Zelda franchise will be a console mover. That's the power of great games. Now, if you're an Xbox fan, you may be wondering, are they going to make a comeback? Of course. They do have a strong ecosystem in Game Pass because it is a fantastic deal for the value, but they're going to need great games to keep that ecosystem thriving. We are going to go to where the games are, where the great experience are. And of course, Xbox has that potential to turn around because back in the day, they announced a numerous slew of great first-party developers that have the potential to put out those great games. It's time for Xbox to embrace the competition, to learn from their setbacks, and come back stronger than ever. And of course, they could totally do that if they just make those great games.